This Windfall Classic training is on scanner select activity ends. So we're on the scanner again. We're at our login screen. So we need to log in with our user ID and password we created in Windfall. And if you're not following what I'm doing, you'll want to watch the other webinar, Windfall Classic training on the scanner setup prior to doing this. So you hit login. And then we want to choose select activity, because what we're actually doing is selecting the activity of what we want to do. Are we going to do ins, moves, outs? Those are what we consider activities in Windfall, some sort of process. So in this scenario, we're going to start with ins. So we go to select activity, and then we select inventory in. You have component in, component move, component out, component verify, inventory in, inventory move update, inventory out update, pallet move, pallet out, vault out. Those are all your options for activities. Also, I've mentioned before in the icons that you can add activity codes that you want to use. If, for example, audit, and use that as a quote-unquote move activity within the system. So we're going to select inventory in. We're going to hit next. Then this is your customer list. It'll bring over the customer list of all the customers that you have checked as download in the software. So you select the customer, hit next. Now it's asking you select customer order. You always want to read the top of everything consistently on the scanner, in Windfall, everything. What it's prompting you at the top of the screen is what you're going to look for to give as an answer on the bottom. So you can either select from the drop-down list, or you can start typing it in, and it'll find it. So you highlight and hit next. Now, as you can see at the top, it says we're doing an inventory in for customer hotel, order number hotel. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go over all these prompts and options that you have on the scanner. As you can see, it says work order number is the first prompt. I consistently say to everybody in my trainings, always read what it's asking for above the prompt down below, because this is what it's looking for. All work orders, regardless if they're inbound, outbound, moves, whatever, they all need to be created in the software first before you can do it any kind of process on the scanner. Anything on the scanner can be anything you can do on the scanner you can do within Windfall. But work orders have to be created prior to do any type of work order activity. So since we didn't create a work order on the first hand here, we're just going to skip it. You can skip any prompt on the scanner. So anything you set up for configuration, you can skip, except for article number, tag number, and location. So if you're selecting tag number and location, those two are required. If you're selecting article number and location, those two are required. If you're using tag and article, only one is required, and location. Windfall only looks for one of those and location as required fields. Everything else you can skip over. So we're going to skip work order. Now it wants to know my inventory number. So we're just going to do our first scan here for an in. It's just a regular inventory in with a tag. So I would scan my tag number. The scanner would beep and automatically go to this next one. Now it's prompting for article number. In Windfall, I set up this customer. Whoops. In Windfall, I set up this customer under configuration as scan article number unchecked. Whenever you have scan article number unchecked, it'll give you the drop-down option for article. Whenever it is checked, then you either have to type in an article number or scan an article. So those are your options. So if I want to, if I had articles created, I can use a tag and an article. So I could select an article here, or I wouldn't have to select an article, depending on the customer and depending on my setup. And we went through that in customer article setup. Exceptions, this is the exceptions from the global tab. Any type of exceptions you want to add to the piece, you can. So if you wanted to say the bottom next, see how it goes up at the top where it says exceptions 2- bottom corner next is cracked next. So you can continually create exceptions for pieces if you need. You can also highlight one and delete them as well. But you can keep going. And when you're finished, you just hit next again. Now it's prompting me for PO because that's a UDF prompt. PO number, I can enter my PO. Room number, if I want to. Remember, these are all prompts you can skip over if you want. Room number, floor number. We're going to skip the picture for right now because I have to show you how to set up an image path first before you can take an image. And then to location tag. And now this is where you would scan a given location tag that you have created in the warehouse. So that's how you do one normal inventory in scan. And as you can see up here, the count says 1. If you want to clear that, it just counts how many transactions you've done on the scanner, how many times you've scanned something. To clear it, you just click count and it goes back to 0. Also up here, you can see that the scanner remembers the last tag that you scanned in. That way, if you ever set your scanner down and walk away, or your roll of stickers down and walk away, you can always come back and see the last scan that you've done. But I've also always suggested to log out of the scanner if you're having to set the scanner down and walk away and come back. That way, no one can do any scans under your name. Last scans will show you those last 25 history scans that I was talking about on customer setup for the scanner. It'll show you the last 25 scans you've done. So the last one we did was this tag number, this article, to that location on that date and time by that user. We selected the inactivity code for a customer hotel. So that's a nice feature. Oh, excuse me, and the quantity. So that's a nice feature to utilize if you want to view your last scans on your scanner. Mass in. What a mass in is, for example, say you're in your hotel project, you have 10 mattresses, and the hotel wants you to sticker every mattress, give every mattress an inventory sticker, and also assign an article to them. And they're all the exact same mattresses. Everything about the mattresses are the same. The PO number's the same, the room number's the same, the floor number's the same. Everything about the mattresses are the same. They're going to the same location, everything. So what you can do is, instead of individually tagging each piece and entering all that data in we just did for each individual piece, you can click Mass In, scan the first tag number in a list. So we have 10 mattresses. So on my roll of stickers, I would count 10 stickers off my roll and rip it off. And then I would scan my first sticker out of that list. Next, how many items to input? Since there are 10 mattresses, that's how many items we have. So we put in 10, hit next. What's the article? You select the article if you have one. Mattress. Next. Any exceptions? Now, in this case, since we're scanning in 10 mattresses at the same time, if you include any exceptions here, all 10 of those mattresses will include the same exceptions. So if you have 10 mattresses and 9 are okay and 1 is bad with exceptions, you want to scan in the 9 first with the mass in and then do that other one individually so you can capture exceptions on it. So we'll skip exceptions. The PO number, remember we have PO number UDF1 on repeat, so it remembers the previous number we had put in. So we hit next. We want the same room number, floor number, image, and location. Next. So what I just did is I scanned in 10 mattresses all at one time, and I didn't have to do the transactions 10 different times. So that's a nice feature to use if you have, just remember everything has to be the exact same, has to be going into the exact same location, all data has to be the same. If it's different, then you have to scan them in individually. Quantity count, what this feature is for is if you have articles without tags. So if you're using, like we talked about in customer setup, you can use just tags and locations, just articles and locations, or tags and articles and locations. In this scenario that I'm going to discuss here is just when you're using just articles. So you select quantity count before you do anything. Then it's asking how many are you going to bring in. We'll say 40. Next. What is the article number? Since you are required to have an article, we'll do cedar chest. Exceptions. If I once again do exceptions, I'm talking about all 40 cedar chests. PO number, I can change my PO number. My room number, I can change my room number. And all 40 of these are going into this place that I'm entering here. So that's how you enter in inventory pieces that do not have a tag number. Review. Review is a good feature to use. I always suggest using review when you first purchase our software and our scanner, because once you scan a location on the scanner, you can't go back and fix any transactions on the scanner. You have to wait until you go into Windfall to fix the transactions. Just like I've said before, you can't do anything from the scanner. You can't create customers. You can't create locations. You can't create work orders. You have to do all of that in the interface. Scanner is just a tool to use to do activities, ins, moves, and outs. So the review option is there for, in case you make a mistake, you can go back on the scanner and fix it before you scan location. Because once you scan location, that transaction is finished. It is complete. You can't go back and fix it unless you go into Windfall. So you check review. This is what it'll look like. So I scan my tag number. I'm going to skip article number in this case because I have a tag. I don't have to have an article. Skip exceptions. I'll put in a new PO number, a new room number, a floor number, a floor number, we'll skip image, and then a location. Then in the review it shows my date, the tag number I scanned in, the PO number, the room number, the floor number, the location, and how many. If all of that's correct, you can hit submit, but if anything is incorrect and you need to fix it, you can hit do not submit and go back and fix the scans. So review is a nice option to keep on, and that will stay checked unless you come in here and uncheck it. Date prompt. What date prompt is this is a feature to use, like I said, in scanner setup. You want to make sure the date and time is correct on the scanner, because that's the date and time it looks like your product's brought in or scanned out or whatnot. So say for example you're in this training all day, and today is 9/9, and you're in the training all day today, so you didn't have any time to scan anything in, but you're billing the customer for days in storage, so you need to backdate that day to look like it came in tomorrow. So what you can do is say it's tomorrow, today's 9/9, say it's 9/10, we scan in our tag numbers, then we can backdate it to 9/9. Or 9/8 or whatever backdate, so it looks like it came in on that given day. And then you go through and you complete finishing all your scanner prompts and entering all your data. So that's what date prompt is. Quantity prompt is used for if you want to assign a quantity to a tag number. So for example, if you had a speed pack full of kick plates or something in an office industrial project, and you didn't want to just use articles, you wanted to tag things too to make sure that you've touched everything, you could tag the outside of the speed pack, count how many kick plates are in there, stick the sticker on the speed pack, and say they're kick plates with the quantity. So in this scenario, we would scan the barcode that we're putting on the outside of the speed pack. How many kick plates are in that speed pack? We could say 50. And then you go through and you enter in all the data. Just remember, anytime you group things together or put things together, they all have to be the same, in the same location, same description. Just remember, if anything's different about them or they have exceptions, they need to be brought in individually. So you go through all your prompts. Once again, you can skip those to your location. So that's what quantity prompt is. The last feature we have here is called Rapid Scan. Now remember, everything I'm showing you is on inventory ins. Rapid Scan, what this feature is for is it's exactly like Mass In, except the tag numbers are not in numerical order. So with Mass In, it takes 10 tag numbers in a numerical sequence and puts them into the system. Rapid Scans, for example, say you have a customer that wants you to barcode every item, and you create articles with them as well, and they go in the same location, all the same data, but the product comes in with barcodes. So the customer wants you to use their barcodes. So we developed this rapid scan feature to enable you to scan their barcodes and enter in all the data for them in a swift motion instead of one at a time. So what you do is you check rapid scan, you scan the first customer tag number that the product came in on. You enter in all the data about the pieces. Remember, they all have to be the exact same, going into the exact same location. Room number, floor, and location. So I just entered in all the data on the first piece. Now what I can do is I can go to every other piece and just start scanning the tags. So I scan the next tag, all the data attaches. Then I scan the next tag, all the data attaches. So you just go down the line and continuously scan in the product. And all that data that you put in for the first piece attaches to the rest. So it's exactly like Mass In, except the numbers are not numeric. And once you're finished with the rapid scan, make sure you uncheck it. Otherwise, it'll stay on rapid scan, and anything you scan in after that will apply to the rest of this group. So those are all the features that you can use on an inventory in. Now, as you can see, we have image checked, so I wanted to go over as well how to set up an image path in Windfall. If you want to use the image option on the scanner to take an image for each piece, and you go into the customer under configuration and you have image checked, you must set your image path first prior to scanning in inventory. If you do forget, that's fine. The transactions will stay on the scanner and go into the transactions with problems, and then you can fix them to there. But I suggest setting up the image path first before doing any inventory ins. So the first thing you want to do is go into Start on your computer, go into Computer. You want to go on a network drive, because if you do it on your C drive, no one else in the company will be able to see the images for the picture, the customer. So you want to do it on a network drive. So you go onto a network drive, and then you create a folder called Windfall Images. To do that, you right-click in the white and select New Folder, and create a folder called Windfall Images. From there, you'll want to create folders for each customer you're going to capture images for. That way, when you do a data transfer, the images will go into the customer's folder, and it's a cleaner way to look for images and modify images and things like that if they're in their own designated folders. So that's the first thing you want to do. After you do that, then you can go back into Windfall, and the image path is located under Configuration, Other. Now remember, everything's customer specific, so every time you set up a customer and you're going to use images, you're going to have to set the image path. So what you want to do is here you want to set the image path. You do not want to use the drive letter, because the drive letter, sometimes when you do a Windfall sync, not the scanner sync, there's a program called the Windfall sync tool that runs typically on the hour, every hour, and it brings all your data and images from Windfall out to your website. So sometimes it has issues seeing the drive letter. So you want to use the name of the drive instead of the drive letter. And in my scenario, the name of my drive is / ACI Cobra / projects. So that's what I'm going to put in the image path. So I'm going to go back into Windfall, and then I'm going to put / ACI Cobra projects / Windfall images, because that's the name of the folder I created, / hotel, because that is my image path that I want my images to go into for this customer when I do a data transfer. So it's yellow, so you save, and now I have my image path set. Also, what you can do is you can use this browse button and look at your drives, and you can see, like, my ACI Cobra Projects drive name is the T drive. So if you want to know the name of the drive, you can look right here, and that'll tell you as well. So once you have that set, if you're on your scanner, you can bring images in. Like I said, though, if you don't have the image path set, that's okay. You can still take the pictures, but we'll have to, they'll get stuck in the transactions with problems, and you'll have to set the image path at that time. So, for example, this is what it looks like when you do images. We'll do a normal inventory in with a tag. So we'll do a tag number. We'll select an article. We'll skip exceptions. We'll do our PO number and our room number, our floor. And then here's where you take a picture. Now, to take a picture, you hit Take Pictures, tap Take Pictures with your stylus. You never want to use a pen or a pencil. Try to use your stylus. So then you aim the camera at what you want to take a picture of. This means the flash is off. If you touch it, that means the flash is on. So the red circle with a slash through it means it's off. You can zoom in or zoom out. And then once you have the picture how you want it, you just tap the screen and hold it still for 3 seconds. And then it shows you the image. And if you like it, you hit yes. If you don't like it, you hit no, and you take another image. So we hit yes. And then you notice at the top above the take picture, it says the tag number of the piece. So the tag number of the piece attaches itself to the image. So once you have a picture, you hit next, and then you scan your location. The other option was select an image. So if I scan in that same piece again, tag number, article, skip, PO, same data, and I don't want to take a picture of that same piece again, I hit select image, and you can select an existing image so you don't have to retake a picture for every piece of inventory you have. Then you hit next, location, and there you go. So that's how you use for images. Once you're finished doing all your scans, you click main menu on the scanner, and now what you have to do is you have to dock the scanner, make sure it's connected via Microsoft Windows mobile device or Microsoft Active Sync, which we discussed in scanner setup. So mine is connected. Then I hit data transfer, start. There are 5 images on this device used for selecting an item image. You want to delete these images after data transfer. You only want to delete them if you don't think you're ever going to need them or use them again. So I'm just going to say no for now. Now it's starting my data transfer. It's taking all my transactions from the gun into Windfall and anything new that I've created in Windfall onto the gun. And you know the data transfer is complete when it brings you back to the login screen. So we're back at the login screen, so I know my data transfer is complete. Now I can go into Windfall and look at the transactions that I've scanned. Now, as you see on the bottom of the screen, it says transactions with problems 0, processing 13. The reason it says processing 13 is because I do not have my T on, my transaction processor. And we discussed that in Windfall Icons training with the transaction processor. But once again, what that is it's the tool that checks all your transactions to make sure they're correct within Windfall standards, such as a correct location, correct articles, and so on and so forth. So you know if it's sitting in processing that your T is not on. Now, sometimes we suggest the first time on a new install that you keep your T off until you can double click on the bottom here and view all the transactions that came off the gun. So if there's anything you want to fix prior to it going into inventory, you can fix it from the transaction maintenance screen, which is showing right here. But a lot of people just keep their T constantly running, and what it does is any good transactions, it immediately puts it into the database and it's good transactions. If they're invalid transactions, they stay here in the transaction maintenance and they wait for you to fix them. They're technically not all the way in Windfall and in the system until they're out of the transaction maintenance. They're just in a holding, if you want to think of it as a holding area when it's in transaction maintenance. So what we want to do is start our T, and the way to start the T or stop the T is to click on the T at the top, and yes, down here you can see it says attempting to start transaction processor. Select from one of the databases, and I have 2 databases assigned, so I'm going to pick this database to run the T against. If you don't have multiple databases, you won't see that feature. It'll just automatically start. And then you'll see a T in your bottom right-hand toolbar, and that's how you know when it's running. And then now you can see as it's running, it's working through all my transactions, figuring out which ones are good transactions and which ones need to stay in the holding area until we adjust them. So you just wait until they're done processing. If, like I said before, if you constantly have your T running, it'll automatically do this while you're doing the data transfer. Now you can see that it says transactions with problems 11, processing 0. So when it says processing 0, we know it's complete. So we have 11 issues. So if we double click on this, we can see what our issues are. This first one here, it says V1500 is not a valid location in warehouse 1. You have 2 options here, okay, to fix this, to go into the system. You can either A, go to this location tab here and say you did mean to scan it into a vault, you just accidentally typed in the wrong vault number. Sometimes that happens, so we always recommend that you scan product or pick from a drop-down list instead of manually typing in things, because you can't help human error sometimes. So maybe somebody accidentally typed in this vault location and instead typed it in incorrectly. So one option is you can pick from the drop-down list of vaults to select from, and it's yellow, so you save. Or what you can do is you can go into the location icon and create that location here. So it's up to you. Either you adjust it to fix an existing location or you create that new location. So we're finished fixing that one. You can see now I've selected V105. This next one here is the same issue. F898 is not a valid location in warehouse 1. And it looks like all of these have the same issue. So instead of individually adjusting each one of these mass ins, because I know these are all invalid locations, what I can do is I can highlight them all, go into location, select a valid location in Windfall, click update selection, and as you can see, it updated the selection I had to the correct location, and it's yellow, so we save. As I said before, update selection is a great feature to use consistently throughout the software if you want to update multiple items instead of having to do them one at a time individually. So once you fix all your problems in Windfall, you can hit process all, and when it turns it all yellow, and you can save, and it'll reprocess your transactions. As you can see on the bottom, it says processing 11. And it's re-going through all the processing. So you just wait. And it says I have transactions with problem 1. So I hit refresh. Oh, and it was still thinking. Now I have 0 problems. My transaction maintenance is clear. All my transactions are now in my Windfall database. So as you can see, whatever you had highlighted on transaction maintenance, it told you the problem down here. So you fix the problem through these tabs, these 5 tabs in Windfall. And that's how you fix them. Okay. Also, like I said before, you can't have any duplicates. A common transactions with problems that we see are invalid locations, invalid articles because people typed them in wrong, invalid work order numbers because they typed in the work order wrong instead of scanning it, and sometimes duplicate tags. It'll say inventory number such and such already exists in inventory. So that typically means someone accidentally scanned the same tag twice. And a way to confirm that would be to utilize the Find Fast option. So you can click on Find Fast, go to search, and type in that inventory number that says it's already existed. And it'll come up with the name and the user that it's assigned to. And then you can move on from there, deciding to either delete the transaction or modify the current tag number in the system. And we cover this all in Windfall, another training video, Windfall icons. So that concludes scanning inventory ins.